Hello everyone and welcome to Registrar Corp's webinar entitled Filing Prior Notice with FDA. My name is Jonathan Rhodes, a marketing specialist at Registrar Corp and today's moderator. The presentation will conclude with a live questions and answers session. If we run out of time, we are also happy to respond to your questions by email. You may submit a written question anytime during the webinar by using the Ask a Question feature in the top center of your webinar screen. A recorded copy of this presentation will be sent to all registrants. I'd like to introduce our speaker today. Crystal Hunter holds a Master of Science degree in Acquisition and Supply Chain Management, as well as a Master of Business Administration. Ms. Hunter has experience in contract management, corporate sales, and business management. Ms. Hunter began her career with Registrar Corp in 2016 in the Client Services Department. She assists new and current clients with a variety of compliances in the food and beverage, medical device, drugs, and cosmetics industries in order to market their products into the United States. I'd like to go ahead and begin. Crystal?
Thank you, Jonathan. Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending. Let's get started. Let's first discuss what prior notice is. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration requires the filing of prior notice for all food, beverage, and dietary supplement shipments entering the United States for both humans and animals. By filing prior notice, you are providing to the FDA important information of incoming food shipments to the U.S., helping them to ensure the food safety for humans and animals. Upon receipt of prior notice, FDA will issue a confirmation number in the form of a barcode, pictured here, that must accompany most food shipments. This is not to be considered FDA approval. This is a notification to the FDA only. FDA still has the right to review and hold the shipment for further clarification if they feel this is necessary. Now, let's discuss who can file prior notice. Anyone with knowledge of the shipment may file the prior notice, to include the exporter, importer, third party, such as a logistics company, and manufacturers. Depending on the mode of transportation will affect how early you are required to submit your prior notice. If your shipment is coming by road, you should submit your prior notice 2 hours before arrival. By rail, 4 hours prior to arrival. By air, 4 hours prior to arrival. By water, 8 hours prior to arrival. And if you are shipping your package by international mail, you should file your prior notice before placing your package in the postal system. Lastly, please remember that you should file your prior notice no more than 15 calendar days before the shipment is due to arrive. Now, you may ask, what information must be included in my prior notice? There are numerous pieces of required information that must be submitted with each prior notice. For instance, information about the manufacturer, submitter, transmitter, shipper, and importer, owner, or ultimate consignee. Also, identification of each product in the shipment. This can be completed by providing the following: the FDA product code, the common product name, the estimated quantity, and the weight. Also, the carrier and mode of transportation must be identified. Depending on both of these factors, additional information may be required if you're shipping by land, air, or sea, or express courier. Lastly, the anticipated time of arrival or the port of entry time are required. For vessels, this would be the docking time of the ship. For airplanes, the landing time at the appropriate airport. And land vehicles, when the expected time is that they will cross the border. It is also important to note that prior notice requires a valid FDA registration. Each time a prior notice is filed, you are required to provide a valid registration number for the product's manufacturer. As a reminder, 2018 is a mandatory biennial renewal period for all food facilities. FDA registrations that are not renewed during this period will be canceled in January of 2019. Many facilities don't realize their registration is canceled until they have an issue with a shipment, sometimes realizing during prior notice. If the registration number is invalid or canceled, the prior notice will be rejected right away in the FDA portal. Registrar Corp can help you to renew your registration. Our contact details will be provided at the end of this presentation, should you wish for our assistance in this matter. Also, FSMA and prior notice go hand in hand. The FDA requires that submitters report the name of any country to which the product has been refused entry. Now we will discuss some of the frequently asked questions that we receive about prior notice. One of the most common questions that we receive is in regards to trade show samples. Many clients will ask us if trade show samples require no prior notice. If these trade show samples will be consumed, they are required to have prior notice. We also receive many questions about live animals. If the live animals will eventually be consumed, again, prior notice is required. Dietary supplements. Dietary supplements do require prior notice. Such examples of these dietary supplements include vitamins, herbs, and botanicals. And lastly, one of our most frequently asked questions is in regards to prescription drugs. Prescription drugs do not require a prior notice, but a copy of the prescription should be included inside the box for importation purposes. Now, you may ask, what if I don't file a prior notice? Failure to file prior notice could result in a variety of different things. Shipments without prior notice will likely be detained at the U.S. port of entry. They're subject to refusal, and not filing a prior notice is considered a prohibited act by the FDA, which is subject to civil and criminal charges for the company. Lastly, shipments may be returned to the shipper or even destroyed. How to submit a prior notice. There are 3 different ways that a prior notice can be submitted, one of which is through the automated broker interface of the automated commercial system. This is the customs broker system. Secondly, the FDA's prior notice system interface, also known as PNSI. Lastly, the quickest and most efficient way to file prior notice is through Registrar Corp's Prior Notice Express system. We have the ability to save and store your information online, saving you time. We can reduce prior notice filing times by 50%, and we decrease potential filing errors. One of the benefits of utilizing our prior notice service is that FDA will contact us directly if they have any questions about the prior notice and shipment. Registrar Corp's Prior Notice Express system is part of our My FDA, Registrar Corp's FDA compliance management software. Now, if you are attending today and you're already a Registrar Corp client, you currently have this account. If you're not an existing Registrar Corp client, you can visit www.myfda.com to sign up. Now, let's talk about the other Registrar Corp FDA compliance solutions that we have to assist you in importing to the U.S. We provide a full range of fixed fee compliance services in addition to prior notice. Registration and our U.S. agent service, which includes 3 free prior notices and many other benefits. Registrar Corp currently serves as the U.S. agent for over 15,000 companies across the globe. Our labeling, ingredient, and product review to help you bring your labels into compliance with the new labeling format that's required in 2020. Food safety and FSMA compliance services such as HARP seafood safety plans, mock inspections, HACCP, and FSVP plans. Food canning establishment registration and SIDs, you can determine your compliance needs and if you require this additional registration by visiting our FCE Wizard and SID verifier. Lastly, we also offer detention assistance and our import alert, DWPE, also known as Detain Without Physical Examination petitions. Registrar Corp has 18 offices worldwide to assist you, offering language assistance in 27 languages. This concludes our presentation for today, and at this point in time, I will turn the meeting back over to Jonathan.
Thank you, Crystal, for that great presentation. Again, I'd like to announce that we will be sending a recorded copy of this webinar and a PDF copy of the presentation to all registrants. You may submit a written question anytime during the webinar by using the Ask a Question feature in the top center of your webinar screen. In addition to our presenter, Crystal, Registrar Corp's Client Service Manager, Liviana Callahan, will join us to help answer your questions. So we will begin taking our questions now, and I will put up contact information for you to be able to reach us. Okay, our first question. Where can we obtain the FDA product code?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Liviana Callahan. The product code is, we can find, if we file the prior notice for you on your behalf, we can find the product code for you. However, there is also a link on the FDA website where you can obtain the product code by yourself.
Thank you, Liviana. Our next question, is prior notice required for wine? It comes from Verna.
Yes, prior notice is required for any kind of type of food or beverages that come into the United States.
All right. Thank you, Liviana. Our next question, do I have to submit prior notice for my food shipments if I am exempt from FSMA?
Yes, absolutely. Prior notice is a requirement that has to be submitted to the FDA, and has nothing to do with FSMA, but prior notice is also part of the FSMA, the Food Safety Modernization Act.
Thank you, Liviana. Our next question, would U.S. FDA certification via Registrar Corp be valid for prior notice?
Well, there are these are two different things. The certificate that we provided to our clients is basically a tool that you can provide to your suppliers that the company, the manufacturer, is registered with the FDA. Prior notice and the certificate are two different things.
Thank you, Liviana. Our next question comes from Nancy. What if we do not know the port of entry? The shipment is sent by courier.
Well, we can find the port of entry for you. It depends from the courier. We have a list on the FDA that we can find the port of entry as long as we know the state where the shipment is going.
Right. Thank you, Liviana. Our next question comes from Roberta. We are starting a new commercial partnership with a customer in the U.S. Will prior notice be needed for every shipment of products?
Yes, Roberta. Again, every type or kind of food that come into the United States require the prior notice.
Okay, our next question. What happens if we file more than 15 days before landing? Would our prior notice be invalid?
Yes, the prior notice will be invalid and a new one needs to be submitted to the FDA.
All right, thank you, Liviana. Our next question. If my suppliers have an FDA food facility registration, will I be required to have it?
The food facility registration number is applicable to whoever manufactures, store, or hold the products. So to answer to your question, if you have a warehouse, for example, here in the United States, you needed to have your registration number.
Our next question from Nancy. What is the average cost for you to submit on our behalf? Does it differ between sample versus truckload?
No, our fee is per shipment. So we have a regular fee of $19.95 per prior notice. However, we also offer blocks of prior notice, which do not have an expiration date, and the fee is cheaper.
Thank you, Liviana. Our next question comes from Christian. How long do you take to generate/submit prior notice?
If you use our service, it will take about 1 hour to return to the submitter the prior notice confirmation number, which is an email with an attachment. And the attachment has to accompany the shipment.
Our next question comes from Bassi. How can I export agro products from Nigeria?
Well, prior notice is necessary for your shipments. However, other FDA compliance information are needed, such as the food facility registration number, and it depends also from the product.
All right, thank you, Liviana. Our next question. What will happen with cargo shipped by sea where we forgot to file prior notice until it arrived in the USA?
Well, prior notice for shipment by sea could be submitted to the FDA 4 hours prior the arrival of the shipment. So we can still do it, or your custom broker can do for you.
Thank you, Liviana. Our next question. Is it necessary to submit a prior notice for samples that are going to be analyzed in labs?
Yes, so that is necessary. In this case, the food facility registration number of the manufacturer is not necessary because there is an exemption, but prior notice is necessary, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Liviana. We will now take our last question. And our last question will be, how long does it take to obtain an FDA registration?
The FDA registration will take 24 hours, more or less, 48 hours.
Okay, thank you, Liviana. We are out of time. Oh, it actually seems like we can answer one more question. Our next question is, can I update a prior notice after I submit it?
No, after you submitted the prior notice, you are not able to update, but you needed to cancel and resubmit a new one.
All right. Thank you. We are out of time, but you may send us additional questions anytime by email to info@registrarcorp.com. This concludes our presentation of filing prior notice with FDA. Thank you for joining us today.